Can you guys see the screen?
Can, Doctor.
Yes, doctor.
Good. Oh. Now the screen is here, no?
No.
No, doctor.
What's wrong with my PC? Yeah? No, okay, right?
Okay, Doctor.
Okay, right. Okay, where is my slide? Okay, here. Okay, today's we take a look on two more topics. Okay, I try to cover everything today. Okay, slightly longer. So, who is outside? Huh? Wait, give me a moment. Sorry. Okay, right. We're going to cover two topics. One is the PHP functions. The other one is the PHP forms, right? Okay. Why functions? For informations in the PHP, most of the times we don't really build our functions until we really need it. Okay, and most of the time we actually use the built-in functions. Okay, we use the built-in functions rather than we're going to build our own. Until we really reach the certain what we call complexity, and then only we're going to create our own functions, right? Okay. Organize your code into a paragraph, capture a complete through the name it. Okay, don't repeat yourself. As I told you, PHP, seriously, we already have a lot of functions, and you guys are going to use it rather than build it. But of course, you need to know how to create your own functions in this case, right? Okay, so functions basically is different from what we call a module. I think in the end of this chapter, we're talking about module as well, okay? But in the functions, basically we want to break a very complex problem into a smaller chunk, okay? So similar to your Java programming, and we're going to go through how to create the function that accept the argument that call by value as well as call by reference, okay? So those are the things that what function all about, okay? Okay, as I told you, in the PHP, we have plenty of what they call these built-in functions. And for example, in this case, if you want to find the functions that want to create what they call a string that can replace a certain string, so you can just type into Google, ask Google. Perhaps that is the best dictionary for you. So we just type in PHP string replace functions, and you will see this string str replace. So in PHP, you will see that a lot of functions they start with certain elements. For example, because this function apply on the string, they start with str, okay, and a lot more actually. So beside that, you can what we call refer to the PHP manual, okay, Okay, so and in the PHP manual, if you log into your what it calls XAMPP, SAMPP, perhaps you can see that this part, okay, that's why I like to use SAMPP because there is a manual inside, okay. So and for particular functions, you can see that this function actually applies since PHP 4, PHP 5, and now we are in the PHP 7. So you can scan through the manual and perhaps you know how to use it, okay? Right, okay, these are some of the functions that are built in, okay, that you can find for it. But sometimes we don't know why they create these sort of functions. Yeah, just for our knowledge, okay? Okay, take a look on these few functions here, but I don't know why they create these type of functions. For example, the string reverse, okay, you're going to reverse the whole string from this one into hello world, okay, and string repeat, I don't know why they need to repeat this once, okay, twice, so you're going to output into heap, to upper cases, okay, and perhaps the string length is something that we're going to use much often compared to the rest, okay? So then it gives you 5 characters in this case, okay? So, and the string length, pretty much we notice that most of these function actually is inspired by the C language, okay? So, if you look at the function name is also very similar to C language. So now, yep, you need to define the functions, right? So functions, basically we define once and we can call more than one times, very similar to in Java as well. So in PHP functions, we start with the keyword, the function name, okay? And this is a function name, and it might accept no argument or there is an argument in this case, okay? So, and once you create these functions, and this is the the actions that you want to be executed. So, and then you just call the function name with no argument here, right? There's no argument, so it will just call hello, hello, right? So it's very easy and straightforward. So, of course, the function names are similar to all the naming conventions, okay? We don't start the development name with $, okay? Don't start that. And of course, you can start with underscore, but in a good practice, if you notice that in PHP, those variable name when they start with underscore basically is more towards library things, okay? So just start with your letters, numbers, and so on, okay? And of course, when you build in you try to create your own functions, don't have the similar name with the built-in functions. So case doesn't matter, right? Please do not take advantage of this, okay? So, and for example, you do a function name ABC, and some people you build ABC, okay? Doesn't matter in this case. Okay, and return value, okay? We take a look on that. Often functions will take an argument, do some computations, okay, and you can apply the return value. You usually when you create a function, the return value when you call it with, and you expect that after we execute this function, it will return value into these statements here, right? So if you come into this part called greeting, the name greeting here, right, function name. And then it will return this hello into here and then concatenate with the Glenn here. So that's why it gives you hello Glenn, hello Sally here, right? So return keyword, you can use it in the functions. And take a look on this case. Very often when we create web applications, it can give server's language, okay? So, and if you look at this one, in your function name, okay, in your function name, there is no $, but but when you accept an argument, because it's variable, then you need the $sign in this case. Remember this one. So in this case, it's passed by what they call this value. Okay, passed by value. So you create a functions and you try to pass argument es. Okay, es going to pass into here. So in this case, you do have the variable language, and then you pass the es int. Okay, pass the es int. So you're going to check if the variable lang holding es, it will return these things. Okay, hola to here. Okay, that's why you're going to return hola land. So you're going to send the same things fr to the lang as well, and then it check. Now the case is not es, so it's fr is so you're going to send this bonjour to here, and then we're going to see bonjour Sally. Okay, so this is what we call by value. Okay, and okay, optional argument. We understand that in functions, the arguments inside this part perhaps is optional. You can start with empty. You can start with just there are few ways here just now. Okay, you can start with empty. You can start with $lang, and you can start with a default value. In this case, this is a case under called default value language equal to something here, right? Okay, this is a default one. So if you notice that you create functions, after that you try to print something, okay, you call this hodi, okay, and it send nothing here, okay, it send nothing here. So by saying nothing, by default it will choose this es. That's why when you try to execute these statements, it return hola by default into here. So that's why you're going to print hola in this case. So if you try to send something fr, okay, it will override this es, and then fr will be captured. You're going to send this bonjour to Sally, and then we'll print bonjour in this case. Okay, so this part, if you write it this way, we call it a default argument. Okay, okay, call by value. To start off, we see all these things are called all by value. Okay. So you need to understand what is meant by call value in this case. Okay, so you create a function's name. So, and this is the scope of the functions. Okay, so everything outside this part is considered outside the scope. So you try to assign the 10 into variable. So you're going to have var, okay, and then a space 10 is holding here. So, and then you try to call the functions double and send this 10 to here, right? Send the 10 to here. And then this 10 is holding by another reference, which is alias. So now the 10 is moved a copy to here. This is holding 10. So there are two different locations in the memory. So 10 multiplied 2, 20, alias holding 20. So now no longer 10, change to 20. So you return the alias 20, return to where? Return back to where? Return where? Return to here? It return to here, right? It return to here, right? Okay? It return to this part because you call it here. So now your diva is holding 20. So you have another variable called diva, okay, which is holding 20. So because you're 20, it passed to here. So now you have three different variables in this case. So if you try to print out value var, this one, sorry, yeah, this one is still using the old value var here. But this one, okay, you're going to use the 20 here, this one. That's why you got 10 and 20 here, because what you choose, the old one, and this is a value assigned to it after do some calculations from the alias. Okay, so this is called by value. Similar to what you did in Java language. Call by reference. Very easy. If you want to use only one memory instead of copying from one variable to another variable, you just assign one more tiny ampersand in this case, okay, dollar sign, real things. So in this case, you're going to have 10 here. Wow. So inside there's a 10. So you want to have this one, okay, you call triple, the function name triple. You send a 10 to here. Basically, actually, you are saying, hey, this going to have another point of reference, point to the same things here. So you refer to the same locations. So you try to do some modifications, okay, 10 times 3, now no more 10s, answer is 30. All right, so in this case, if you use reference, you don't need to apply return. What for you need to apply returns? Because you still can reach the same, modify value in this case. So when you try to output the triple, okay, although you are using this one, okay, you're using this one, but the value has been changed from 10 to 30. That happened in the functions. That's why you will answer 30 in this case. By reference in PHP, just using ampersand. Okay, so if you look at this slide, okay, so when you refer to any manual, so you notice that when you do a sorting, this is one example. When you do a sortings, okay, sorting functions, so you notice that there is an ampersand here. So we know that this is called by reference. Okay, so a lot of times when you try to send in a string into these functions, basically is going to point to the array, the only array. Okay, the only array. So this is very important. That's how you should understand why there's an ampersand in this case. So if you go for the manual, you notice that this is sort functions available from PHP 4, 5, and 7. We don't have PHP 6, yeah? Okay. So variable scope. Okay. So the scopes, as I told you, okay, the scope in the function and also outside the scope are two different scopes in this case. So you need to be responsible, okay? Don't confuse yourself using the name, which is a similar name inside the function and also outside the functions. So you see these guys using the same variable name in this case, okay? So you see this var and this var is totally two different var, okay? Although the name is the same, but actually they are referring to the same different location in this case. So because of the scope of inside the functions, and this is another scope, two different scope here. Okay, so you assign 10 into the var. First things, you call this try jab. So it don't receive anything. This is 100. This is only happen inside this variable var within this scope. So if you try to go out from this scope and try to print it out, you notice that it still stick to this 10 instead of this 100 because the scope of the functions. Okay. So and what if I don't want to have a different scope here? So I can use another keyword which is called a global. So, but be very careful when you use this global, okay? So now you have this 10 here. Now you are create one var, okay? Assign value 10, and then you call do that, okay? This function going to execute, and you add a keyword called global. It means, hey, try to find if any variable have been defined before, similar to this one, okay? So if yes. Okay, so they are going to use the same variable in these functions. So now 100 you assign to this one means that 100 you assign to the scope outside from the functions. So you try to print out, you notice that, oh, now become 100. Okay, so this is the global. So means you are sharing the same locations. Okay, clear? So global variable rarely used. Okay, if possible, don't use it. Okay, you know why? You try to imagine. If you try to change this var into something like incremental variable I, okay, or sometimes j or something, right? This when you're doing the conditional while I less than something, this variable. So if you try to apply these things into what they call this common incremental variable, and when you apply on the global, could be very dangerous. So that's why it's a good practice that if you want to apply a global variable, please write something like this. Okay, when you really need it, only you use it. Otherwise, don't use this global. Okay, so then you can what they call avoid accidentally you're going to what they call overlap with others what they call incremental variable. Okay, so the thing is that you can use pass by value, pass by reference. So if you really need to use global variable, please provide a very unique and nice prefix. Okay, so something like this. Okay, now because in PHP we do have a lot of functions. Okay, we do have a lot of functions, and we do have a PHP 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Every version of the PHP, they could have some functions that might not be available. Okay, so that's why if you go back to here, you notice that why in the manual they only show these functions available in the PHP 4 and 5 and 7, which is not available in the PHP 1, 2, 3. Okay, so and this is come to the part that we call function exists or not. Okay, so if you try to, usually when we do a programming, we do this way. We are not sure whether the what they call function exists or not. Of course, you can argue that we can check first before do coding, but this is a good practice as well. Firstly, you're going to check whether the name of this array, this is the functions name of the functions, function name. For example, just now is sort, right? Okay, so the function name you put inside, you're going to check if this function exists or not. Okay, if exists, you do something. Okay, so if not exist, this is where only you're going to create your own functions in this case. Okay, if the function not exists, usually we don't call just like this, isn't it? Usually when the function exists, only you write your own functions. Okay, because you want to avoid the name that they create and the name which is already available, okay, in the functions. Okay, so we're going to check if the function exists. If not exists, we're going to create the name of the functions in this case. So this is usually how we do it in our what they call writing functions on the PHP. Okay. Okay, this is also another one. For example, array key exists. This is the functions, okay, but only available after 4.07, 5, and also 7. Okay, right? One heck of the functions. Okay, so in XAMPP, XAMPP, okay, you can want to know about, if you want to know about more about the PHP, okay, for example, so what is the configuration in your current system, okay, you are installing which version of the PHP and so on, okay, you can try to create a code and try to type in this thing php info.php. In fact, this one actually is under the file called info.php. Okay, so everything about the current version that you install. Okay, so if you try to type this one, you will see everything about the versions that you install on your platform, on your computer, on your laptops, on your server. Okay, so you know which version actually you are using at this moment. Okay, right? These are the info as well. There are a lot of info actually, right? All this under PHP info. Okay, now that is what all about functions. Now let's talk about modularity. What is modularity in this case? A lot of times when we create a web applications, okay, we're going to reuse some component on the web page. Okay, for example, of course we know that every pages the contents going to be different. Okay, contents going to be different, but perhaps the header part, okay, the header part, and sometimes the language, okay, perhaps you use some third party, in this case like Google's translate language, translate automatically. So perhaps you notice the header and the footer, it could have the same setup across all the pages that in your applications. So in this case, perhaps modularity need to come in. So, and when you require those similar part in your web application to be repeat for all the time, then you can use include or require. Okay, include or require. I will tell the difference between these two. Okay, listen clearly. Don't read this text, listen to me clearly. Include, the difference between include and require, basically, it is if you use include, if the file is not available, it won't give you factor error. Okay, you include a file, but if this file is not available, okay, it won't give you an error when you try to execute it. But it requires, if the file is not available, it will show you a warning and also a factor error. Okay, so what is the difference between include once and also include only? So the include once and include once, the include and include once, okay, when you see once here, basically it only call the file once throughout your applications. Perhaps you have one .php here, another one have another 2.php, another 3.php. Okay, so you notice that right, I have another file here called header, for example, header.php. This is a file that I want to include inside here, and inside the third PHP file. So if I try to include this one, okay, I put include header.php, okay, I include php.here, I include this one here. If you repeat one time, two times, three times in the output. So if in the header file, I want to display something, ABC, or no, I want to say, welcome to my page. So if you see, welcome to my page 1, welcome to my page 2, welcome to my page 3 times. It looks weird, isn't it? So usually we use include once, okay, over here. Over here. You include once, you type 3 times, but the output only appear once. Okay? Because when it come over here, it will check, oh, this file already included in the whole executions. So it won't, So it won't call the same file for the second time and third time. Understood? Similar to require and require once. When you see the once, okay, it also will check, okay, if the file has been called within the set of file or not. If already called before, so it won't repeat it. We don't want to welcome to ABC application 3 times in it. Okay? Clear? Okay? You need to understand this part. So I will tell you some of the example of the applications here. So you look at this part is the contents, okay? But you see this contents and this contents is totally different. There are 2 different pages here. This is the main page and there's another one install.php, right? So perhaps inside here, there are something that click if you come to this page here. But then from page to page, you notice that this part, okay, and this part is the same. This part and this part is the same. All right? So perhaps in this document, okay, in this document, index dot something, okay, I'm going to include this file, this dot php file. Okay, I need to include this one as well, dot php. Okay, 2.php, 1.php. Same thing to here. When loaded, here also include 1.php, 2.php. Right? So whether I use require, if I use what we call include, if this 1.php and this one is not available, it won't show over this page factor error or warning. But if I use require, if this 1.php is not available, it's not loaded, you will see here before this line setting here, warning, factor error, blah, 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 blah. Okay, you need to try on this one. Okay, all right. So once, but in this case, if you have another file here, okay, another file. So when you once, so you only call this file 1.php only once. Okay, so once you recall here, although link to here, it's not going to call again, but okay, it won't going to repeat 2 times, 3 times, and so on for other pages. Okay. Okay, take a look on this one. So now you are on this index page here. So we know that this part is the contents. Oops. Okay. The contents. So I put into here the contents here. Okay. So you see the top navigations. So in this part contain 2 things here. One is the top, the other one navigation. Basically is all these things, navigations. Right, navigations. And you do have the foot.php. Here, this one. This is under index.php. Yep. Okay, this is the main page. Okay. So, and when coming to install.php, you notice that I also need to include this one. Okay, I just need to include this one. Similarly, you will get the same thing here. Require, same thing here. This one. Alright, so only the contents will be different. This is the contents here. So this is what we call modularity. Okay, right? Stop sharing. Okay, good. Okay, we take a 5 minutes break and I will continue another topics. All right? Okay. It's still recording, right? So I need to pause for a while. Oh, stop recording. Okay. So we continue at 10:51. Okay. Take a break. Then I will continue for the next topic. All right. Is everyone here?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, right. Okay, let's continue. For the next topics, stop sharing. We are sharing now, actually. Can see the slide or not, guys?
Yes, doctor.
Yes, doctor.
Okay, form processing, good.
Yes.
We are. I need to do recording. Okay. Guys, we come to the form processing in PHP. This topic is very, very, very important. Okay? And this week and next week, your lab question is on this one. Of course, your lab question actually is from the first until today. Okay? The next question I haven't uploaded yet, okay, but it's related from the first week until today. Okay? So, and one of the major parts that you need to deliver is from this chapter. Listen clearly. Okay, I want you guys to listen clearly. I try to go slow and steady. So if you have any questions, stop me. Okay, otherwise I expect that you can do your lab tomorrow. So form processing. Just like others programming, right? When you create the web applications, you expect that you expect that you are going to receive some input from the user, and then the input will send to your web server, okay, through the HTTP protocol, and your web server Apache going to process it according to the instruction that you return in the PHP. And if the PHP requires some data from database server, okay, in this case it's MySQL, you're going to fetch data from the what they call this, your MySQL server, come back to the PHP, which is in the web server side, to process it and return back to your browser. So basically that is the whole process. You need to think about, now you are accepting the input from the user. How we're going to send this input to the web server. Then after that, you do some processing and return back to the browser. That is the whole cycle that you need to understand. Okay? So PHP global variable. If you still remember, in PHP, we do have servers global variable. Okay? I talk about variable, and then I talk about global variable as well. If you remember, all the variable will start with $sign. And this global variable is not the variable that we in front we add global on the variable, like what I discussed to you just now. This global variable is referred to $_get and $_post and a lot more. We're going to come to that. Okay. So in these sections, we're going to take a look the difference between $_get and also $_post. Okay, and you need to know when you're going to use these two things. Okay, so you're going to have a get method and also post method. So, and this one, when you send data, okay, from user, which is, if you have two parts, this is a browser side, and you do have the server side. So you send the data to the server, and it will store in either this one or this one, okay, in a global variable, before you start your PHP instructions. Okay, data will pass through the HTTP protocol and come to the server before it start the PHP instruction. That is the rules. Okay. So, and in this global variable we call super global variable. Okay, and this $_get and post actually is an array. Okay, it's an array. So what does it mean by array in this case? It consists of key and value pair. Okay, key and value pair. Remember the concept here. This super global variable is configured in an array form, which is consists of key and also value that will send from here to here. Because you remember, variable, it must have a x, for example, equal to 2. This will become your key and this is become your value. Okay, clear? So take a look on this one. Just a recap for you guys. I did mention about this one before. Okay, so you do have the HTML code. Okay, so that's where contents and using R here. And you create a block here. Okay, print tag. You try to print this one. Okay, you try to print this one. The super global variable $_get, you will see this thing is an array. How this thing coming in? Because of this one. You can see this one. Question mark x equal to 2 and y equal to 4. This is the piece of data that's sent from one page to this page. Okay, one page to another page. So this page is when after you click enter button, enter. Okay, for example, you have another page which is something like this, x, y. So user input 2, user enter 4, input 4, and there's a button here, enter, click. It will come to this page, something like this. This page will be loaded. When this page loaded, you will see this one actually is from here. Okay, if you use a var dump, you are going to have more info about the contents of the array, especially the type. Okay, when you use var dump instead of using print R. Clear? At this part, you must understand, okay, how this thing come into the scene. Okay, come back to this one. Just now, you saw there is a value here. Okay, so you are sitting at the browser here. Okay, so browser will have the input, just how I mentioned to you, x equal to 2, y equal to 4, for example. And then when you click enter button, okay, or sometimes not the input. For example, even a page on the link, L-I-N-K, link, hyperlink. You click on this link, it will send something to here. What it sends actually is the argument, okay, with something like this. Okay, this is a value, like direct value, but it could represent this one, something like the value of the page. Okay, when you click hyperlink to here, but somehow actually it interact from browser to the server through the HTTP protocol. So now this x equal to 2 or y equal to 4 is going to pass to this global variable as a starting point before your first index.php instruction executed. So if you notice that, oh, okay, I need to have a value now. So I'm going to get from here. Okay, I'm going to fetch from here to do my executions. So suddenly, the instruction, oh, I need to get some data. Okay, from database, return here, continue. Do some calculations, then return back to here. Pass the output from your browser. Okay, and then if requires some JavaScript interpretations on the output, okay, because JavaScript is going to modify the DOM display, right? So do some modifications and then pass to the DOM, and then you see, oh, okay, this is output. That's how it works, the whole story. You need to understand the concept. Okay. Okay, now look at this one. Follow carefully. This is not a PHP. This is just a normal HTML. Okay, so you write a simple code guessing game, okay, and you create a forms here. So as an input form, okay, an input form. So, and then you put the label, okay, label. So input guess is a label, okay. And you do have the most common type of inputs, which is text field, okay. You do have a name and also ID, okay, name and ID. In this chapter, ID is not important at all, but this ID is related to CSS. But the name is very important. This is the, remember, when you send the value, for example, 2 here, click submit or enter. 2 will become the value. And what is the key? Key is the guess. So if you send guess and 2 underscore gets, this is the thing you're going to send. The guess, which is this component's name and also the value inside. Clear? In your super global gex variable, it will store this guess and also the value that you enter after you submit here. Okay, click this submit here. Clear? So when you click, you notice that the new page is loaded and you will see something here. The next page lah, it will go to next page. It depends on where you want to go, right? So next page, $ guess, okay, equal to 2 here. Okay, so this is the explanations. You have a guess, okay. So this is the form1.php. You enter 12. You notice that still the same. After you click submit, it will come to this page, which is form1.php. Okay, okay. It will load the same thing, but actually it will show these things. See? Okay, it will show this thing. You send to somewhere else. Okay, guess and 12. What is this guess? Actually, it's this one. Where is this 12? This 12 come from? It's here. This one, in this case, okay, actually, you resend this value into your okay. So when page is loaded here, okay, here, you continue from this one, you continue from here, okay. You want to see what is inside the array, right? Okay. The first time when the page coming in, the first time when the code coming in, when you don't type any value inside, okay, you will notice that in your gex actually is empty. Don't have anything. If you don't believe, you try to execute this code, okay. When this page is loaded, you notice that, okay, when you notice that print R, you notice that nothing here. No these things. Okay, no this thing. After you input 12, click submit, the page is loaded again, okay, for the second request, okay. Okay, you need to understand what is the request and response. Request and response. First time the page loaded in is empty, right? So that is a first request. So you enter some things, okay. Oh no, I need to explain again. Okay, wait. Let me clear all these things, yeah. For the first time, the page coming in, okay. So that is where you input the URL request, and then the server will return back to you request respond, return you this page which is empty. So you input 12, click submit. You click submit. This is another request to the server. Okay, another request to the server. Okay, and then server is coming back to you, okay, with these things. Okay, the page is loaded again with these things. So in this case, there are two request response cycle. Okay, there are two request response cycle. Okay, first time coming in, then you input the value, and then after click enter. So if you look at this one, you continue from here. After you input 12, click submit. Okay, the page will be loaded again. Then you will see, oh, there's a guess value 12 actually. And then here the thing is that how come there's no more value here? All right, how come there's no more value? You understand now? What we want here is that after you submit, okay, when the page coming back, the value will be remain here. Page refresh, okay, the value that user enter should be remain here. But in this case, after you click submit, the page coming back is empty, but then you only see these things. Guys, in your lab, you're going to create this similar game, but I want, when you guess the number, for the page refresh coming back, you need to have this number, the user enter before this page to be shown. Okay, listen clearly here. Then it will show what is the value inside your $_get. So in your tomorrow's assignment, basically I want you to create a game here. Now I do have the number, for example, 50. Okay, so I want to create applications where ask the user to input guess the numbers. Okay, so if he or she guess below than this one, you will tell your number is too low. If guess number is greater than 50, you will is the whole problem.
Doctor, excuse me.
Yep.
Can you repeat what you the last point, because your internet lagged, I think.
My internet lag.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay. Okay.
Stopped like for 10 seconds or 15 seconds.
Oh. Okay. Okay. Oh, then I think I need to wait. I think it's good for me to stop my video, isn't it? Now okay now. Now okay now.
Yeah. Okay now.
Okay. Now remember tomorrow's questions. I haven't uploaded the question yet. Okay. So I want you guys to create the guessing number applications. Just a simple interface, don't need to design so complicated, but you need to think from the first lecture until today's, okay? How can you create an application by default, the number that you want user to guess is, for example, 50. So you're going to record your user make how many trials before he or she reach this 50. Okay, before he or she reach this 50 numbers. Okay, this number. For example, now your number variable b is equal to 50. So for the first trial, he come in, he type 12. So the page, when he hit submit, then the page coming back, it will show, oh no, your value is too low. Okay, too low. So, and then the page user going to enter again. Okay, 56. Oh no. So this is second attempt. First attempt. So no, this is too high. So user type in again. And then you continue. Third attempt. Oh yes, you got it right. So the output, I want to see the third attempt, you got it right, which is 50. Understand? This is what you need to do. So you're going to use a lot of knowledge that I share from the first class until today. Okay? Think how you can make use of everything that I share from first class until today. Yeah? Okay? So you need to understand the concept here. So when we use the get, when we use the post, see, just now I just teach you get. Now we take a look at post. The same thing to the post here. Just now is gets, now it's post. The thing is still coming in, okay, request still coming in, but then if you store in a post rather than a get, if the programmer specify so, okay, same thing, you go through a code and then get the data and continue, perhaps from here, but now for this moment, we're going to touch this one, okay, then most likely next week, we go to the SQL. Okay, then we see from here how I get with SQL coming back, execute and come back to here. All right, okay, so now we take a look on post. Now, you will see that in the forms, I have something extra, which is a post here. Okay, in the post. Okay, if you see before this, do you see anything here? No. By default is gets. Okay, so now we take a look on this post. What is post? Still the same thing, you're using the same text field, the same name guess. Okay, so and you try to print the post inside. Okay, you try to input 12, okay, submit, but then now you want to use the post method instead of by default get. Okay, so when you submit, you notice that, how come there is nothing here? The questions here no more, right? My variable x equal to something, no more here. This is what we call a post. You don't want to reveal, anything on the URL. Okay, you don't want to reveal anything on the URL. That is the difference between gets and posts. Okay, so when you try to print R or this get, you notice that, okay, now the post, hey, I got it, here the post, but it is not in the get because I use the post methods. Clear? Okay, next. What is the difference between get and post, you might ask? One is show the URL, the other one not show the URL, but so what? So now is the things. Get, you will see that the parameters are placed in the URL. Okay? The other one, the parameter actually is append in the HTTP connections. What does it mean here? Take a look on this one. When you send both of the variable from your browser to your web server, right? Same thing if you send to the HTTP. But then, if using get, you notice that in your form, it's going to append on the URL. But if using post, okay, this is get. If using post, you notice that it's not going to attach any argument here. But if you send like this, okay, and others, okay, depends on the browser. If you send separately, okay, hidden in the protocol. Okay, it's hidden in the protocol. Okay, send separately hidden in the protocol. This is how post works, and this is how gets works. Okay, clear? All right. Okay. So, anything else I miss out here? No. Okay, good. Okay, so for input type, the name, yes. Okay, that's why you have the guess here. And also there's a guess here. That's the difference between get and post. But the thing is that, okay, I understand technically how it works, but then when should we use get? When should we use post? So now you know what is post, yeah? Okay. When you use gets, when you use post here. For the rules of thumbs, when you have a data to create or modify, you use post. Example, you want to withdraw money. withdraw money, you will use post. If you want to reading or searching item, you use post. For example, you try to do online shopping. Online shopping. Right? Online shopping. You go to the shopping cart or 11 coming. So you go to there and choose the cart. Click. Right? So you have an application, right? So there's an icon here. You want to know have more info. Click on it. It will load out another page. Okay, what the info product all about? This is definitely using get. Okay, definitely using get. And get info, use post definitely. Okay. So get URL should be idempotent. The same URL should be give the same thing. So this is what I mean. When you do a shopping here, right? You bookmark something. So you have an X value, Y value with the URL. You bookmark this thing. So next time you click in, it will come back to the same page. That is what we call gets. Okay. Another thing is that we use post instead of get because get do have a limit of byte. I'm not sure how much. Okay, think about 2K. The length on the URL, there's a limit for that. Okay, there's a limit for that. That's why we use post rather than get for sometimes. Okay. So web search spider will follow get URL, but generally not post. Okay, this is what about when we search when you apply searching. Okay. Okay, right. And we need to go through some HTML input types. So HTML input types depends on type of the HTML. HTML5 and HTML4 different. You will notice that some of the input type for the HTML5 is not available in the HTML4. For example, input type like color palette. Color palette. So, for example, you have a color palette like green color. You can pick the color and then it will change something for you. This is a kind of input as well. Date, time. This is also in HTML5, which is not available in HTML4. So those are examples of the input: date, time, URL, for example. Okay, you have input email, ABC, alias, UPM, for example. So this is a called email field input. It's also available in HTML5. These are all the of course, the standard one very easy like HTML4. You will see that all text field, radio buttons, chat box, and so on. So those are all the example of HTML input. Okay, but HTML5, please go and find. Okay, a lot. So we try to take a look, quick glance through what are the HTML input type. So these are all the common ones: text, password, radio, chat box, drop down, text area. So these are all the example: text field, radio button, chat box, drop down menu, and then text field, and this is a multi selection text field. Okay, it will pop out all, and then you can highlight this one, highlight this one. So these two will be sent actually. So we see how all these things input can send through the HTTP to the server. So these are all the input. Input not necessarily must be what they call text field, right? It can have many different type of input field. Okay, the first one is a text field. So we know that this is text field. Okay, we use a post method. Okay, post method here. Okay, and for this one is type with a password. This is text field. So text field, password, text field. The name for this one is pass account PW nick. So if you input the value, when you click submit, you notice that account become the key, PW become the key, nick become the key, when it's not here, right? This one don't have. Okay, it's not inside the code here. Okay, so Beth, if you hold Beth, this password is just hidden from visibility. Okay, just hidden, but actually when you send it, it still got the states. Okay, so you may try, if you want to use, instead of post, you use a get here. So then you notice that, hey, the password enter actually is show on the URL. Kind of stupid, right? Okay, so, and then the nick here as well, and you input BK. So this is how you go through a post. But then you need to print out the post lah. If you're using print out the get, it won't show you this contents because you use a post method here. Okay? So now you also can take a look on the radio button. Radio buttons, if you look at this example, I put this in sequence. If I try to put a radio button here, I put a radio button here, put a radio button here. If I use the same name, van, this one also van, this one also van, this one also van, actually they are referred to the same group. Same group. Okay? It's not determined by the locations, but determined by the name. So it means that from this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're only allowed to choose one. Okay? Radio button. Perhaps you want to have another group here, 1, 2. These two you name it as how. Okay, this is another group already. Okay, means that you can choose one out of 2 here. So out of these 5, you can choose another one. It's grouped by the name. Okay, so now if you look at this one, by default, when you try to keep this page loaded, by default you want the page loaded, PM is selected. So please input this one, check by default. Okay, by default. Okay, by the page loaded, you want this one, check by default, click this one. Okay, so the same thing, the name, okay, only one will be taken. In this case, PM will be taken. Okay, this one don't have. Okay, it's not inside. This is only a section code. Okay, need also don't have here. Yeah, because here is need for this one is referred to the next one. You just need to take a look on this one. If you send only one here, you don't have another banner. Okay, only choose one. When user choose PM, there's only one PM here. Okay, that is what we call a radio button. Now you can have a chat box as well. Chat box is a type. Okay, the name is different from radio button. In this case, you're going to have a different class here. Okay, different class. So if you class 1 you selected, it will show this one. If you have second classes selected, it will show another one. Okay, so if you choose a third classes, it will show this one. If you choose 2, it will show 2 here in your array. Okay, so in this case, when page loaded, this one is check, automatically tick. Okay, so if this one you don't have any value here, remember, if you don't have any value like this one, the value is on. Okay, when you print it, the value is on. When there's no value here, the value, when you take this one, but inside here there's no value, the value actually is on by default. Okay, right, clear? Next, we come into the drop down menu. You can have a name called soda, the component of these things, this one. And inside this soda, you have a lot of things inside. Okay, the value 1 is referred to place select. Value number 2 index lah. This one just like index, index, index. Inside here, inside this one, allow you to scroll down, scroll up, okay? But each of the value inside here is associated with a index, this one. So the first one, 0, please select. And then followed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, their value inside. If you click inside, it will pop up this one, called Pepsi, Mountain Dew, orange juice, lemonade, and so on. Okay, but only allowed to choose one. Okay, so when choose it, okay, so you notice that, oh, okay, it come out with the value 0 is selected. Right, so this one when it show actually is not what it got the value, okay, but if you show what? If you show the index here, okay, if you show the index here, okay, you show the index. So now the thing is that how when we do programming, you need to check if this one is 0. So we can check if this one solder key is 0. So you can pop out a message to the user, please select your options. If he or she didn't select this one, because we can check this one. This is how we do it usually in programming, isn't it? Okay, you can check if this one is 0, then you pop out, please select this one before click submit button. Okay, so for the snack, now your value here, okay, is no longer a index. You want the value to be the string. See, you want to be the string, and this one there's no string. Default is please select. Right? So the select, you also can use it for string. Just now you are using what? You're using the value here. Okay. Similarly, this one and this one is the same. You can use value as the number as the value, or you want to use it as the string. So if you use a string, then if you send to here, snack, okay, for the name of the component, which is this one, component, okay, and the value it hold actually is a string. Okay, and the best thing is that when the page loader, by default, you can use selected. So when the page loaded, peanut will be automatically selected. Okay, clear? Okay, this is a kind of lengthy text field. Okay, this is a text field which is different from others input component. Okay, different from others input component. You can set the length row, how many row you want, column you want. Okay, the ID, of course, this one you can set by yourself, and this is the name that you need to remember. Okay, for these objects. So, and then when you try to type some things in the array, it will come into here and it will show you what actually you type inside here. This is what we call text area input. Okay, this is something that I don't like, seriously. Okay, and if you ask most of the user interface designer, please avoid this one if possible. This is a kind of multiple selections, what you call component. So you can have a list here, and then user can highlight, choose and highlight it. Okay. So in this case, this guy's choosing Python and also HTML. Okay. So, but before that, you can use a select multiple items. Okay. So the name is code, but it's in array format. Okay. Remember, this is an array. Okay. So the value, these are all the value here, which is you will map the index inside and this one. In the code, there's an index because it's array. Okay, this one is an array format. So, and what you show here, this one actually will show here. Okay, but not the value, yeah? What you type inside this part actually will show here. You can put Python 123. It will show here Python 123. It's inside here. Okay. So and then you can pick field, and then depends on how many you pick. it will come into the code. Okay, guys, if you look at this one, do you think it's familiar to kind of a multi-dimensional array? No, this is the array in an array. Okay, it's an array in an array. So you can see code is array, and the code inside there's another array. Okay, this is array. Inside this one level, and there's another level. If you can't remember what is the two nested array, this one, please go back to the array chapter, take a look, and you will see here, hey, we are using again. Yeah, it's a nested array. Inside this array, there is array code, and perhaps beside the code, you can have another component. Okay, not only code. Okay, so and inside the code, you have two selected here, right? CSS and also the HTML. It will arrange automatically. Okay, not according to the sequence here, but if you choose this one Python, this one is the CSS, it will come into index 0 and 1 in sequence. Okay, clear? Okay, and you do have the submit and also what you call escape button here. Okay, okay. If you look at this code here, the submit buttons, okay, basically the value is submit. Okay, the name. So this is a key and value. Key value. Even a button also have a key value that you submit through the array. Okay. There's another special case, something like this. We use a button as the hyperlink. If you look at this one, okay, actually it's a hyperlink, right? It's a hyperlink. Another type, which is type is buttons, okay? So, and then you try to insert the hyperlink on, click on it, click on this one, it will come to this page, okay? What is this return false? What is return false? Return false means, oh no, I don't want to go into request response cycle. Okay, usually when you click this one, it will go to request response cycle, right? Please, if I click this one, remain on this page. I don't want to go to the request response cycle. Okay, it's not going to send any value to the server. Remain, refresh, remain on this current page. So this is what we call escape. Return false on this current page. This is what we call, we apply over here. That's why we have a return false. Otherwise, we click this one for submit, if you go to the request response cycle. Request response cycle, RRS. Right? But when you see return false, okay, stop here. I don't want to go to request response. Okay, clear? Okay. So there are some input which different from those input that I discussed with you. Okay, so we take a look on what are the difference here. Okay, right, and you can take a look on W3C school, a lot of HTML5 format here. So these are some examples available in HTML5. Okay, but I just want you to be alert on 3 items here, which is the email. I think email, URL, and also this is the numbers here. Yeah, this 3 actually is a validation field. It means you must fulfill the requirement before you can click submit. If you check on what they call the input field for email, it must have these things. Okay, alias. If you check if this value input is between 1 to 5, if you check it is a valid URL. Okay, this string actually is a validation field. Right? So we do have a color type. Okay, you can apply the color. Okay, you can apply the date. This is also available with only in HTML5. Okay, so and then what else? Oh, I saw something special. I mentioned to you. Why is this type is flying stupidly? Huh? What is this flying type? We don't have the flying type, yeah? We don't have a flying type, okay? Trust me, there's no flying type here. You have all this type, but not the flying type for sure. Maybe in HTML 6 or 7 later, but I don't know, okay? So by HTML5, for sure there's no flying here, okay? So when there's no flying type, what are the type of the input it gives you? It gives you text field. If the type is not available, it will give you text field, because that is the most fundamental one. Okay, so the name, okay, source here. That's why when you try to type in something yes here, you will see the source is yes. See? Okay, and it is a text field. When the type is not available, it will just give you text field. Okay, what's time now? Okay, I think it's good enough for me to stop here. I can't finish all of it because this part is quite important as well. We are talking about HTML injections, okay, and how we're going to apply the HTML entities in this case, okay. So I will see you again tomorrow, 2 o'clock. I will continue from here, okay, and I complete the whole things. Okay, guys?
Okay, doctor.
Okay, doctor.
Okay, doctor.
Wait, that. Whoa. What's happening? Stop recording. Okay.
Doctor, I want to ask you. I want to ask you about the last session in the lab session. Will
What's
you
the question
upload
again?
last lab session last week? Can you upload the session online, please?
Upload what?
The session, the recorded session.
Recorded section, lab.
Yeah, the first 1 hour you did a lecture at that time about the
Yeah. I think it's already uploaded. What? It's inside, right?
No, I was looking at for it. I didn't find it.
No, it's inside. It's in the Google Drive, isn't it? Guys, if you go to wait, let me see. Yes or no, guys? Someone can help? Let me see. It's my Google. Let me see my Google Drive a moment, yeah? 3150. Wait, let me see. 3150. Okay, this one. Part 2. Yeah. It's inside.
Oh, okay.
If you go to the Google Drive, you go to your Putra class, on top of it, there's a link, right? There is only one link to the recorded video. I don't want to post one by one into your Putra Plus because the file is limited.
Yeah.
Right? So I share everything to the Putra, to the Google Drive. You can go download inside. So today's lecture, I will upload as well inside here. I put all the topics there. From the HTML, CSS part 1, CSS part 2, and then array part 2. Is there inside? Why not?
Yes, it's there.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So no worry. I will upload. So today's a lot of things, yeah. I hope today's lecture can give you some new knowledge. Yes or no?
Yes, doctor.
Yeah. So tomorrow, please follow my sections again. Tomorrow, 2 o'clock. Okay. And the class will start sharp 10 minutes after 2. Okay. After that, I won't admit anymore. Yeah. So you guys are going to stay outside the room. Okay. So tomorrow I will continue with these HTML entities, HTML injection. What is the case going to happen on that? I'm going to explain as well. and then I follow by one of your assignment, which is the coding in the game. Okay, how to guess the numbers. So you need to follow that part before you can start with your assignment. Okay, guys.
Okay, doctor.
Okay, guys. Sign your attendance, everyone. Don't when come to last. During the final assessment, your what you call assessment, your assessment is not enough, 80%, then you come and see me. Yeah? No argue on that time. Okay, so it's a responsibility to sign every sections, including the lab as well. Okay, clear?
Sure.
Okay, guys. Yeah. Any questions?
Okay, for lab 1 through Petrobras.
Yep. 2 plus. Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Doctor, one
Yep.
last question. The type of file, is it we have to change to PHP for lab 1?
Yeah. Correct. The first one you can change it to PHP. Oh no. The first one you don't need to change to PHP. The first one just remain HTML, but you need to load from your web server.
Okay, doctor.
Okay, remain at the HTML. The first lab is only HTML, no need .php. But the second lab tomorrow, we will start with .php. You need the .php because there are some PHP coding behind the scene. For the first one, no need lah, because there's no what they call executions, right? In the server, everything on the browser. That's why it's just HTML you do. But I want you guys to execute from your local host. Okay.
Okay, doctor.
Okay, no more questions, yeah?
No, doctor. Thank you.
Okay, good. I see you guys tomorrow, 2 o'clock. Bye.
Okay, thank you, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
Bye.
Doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.